Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Jones. We are going to start a new unit today about probability. So before we get started, there's a couple of materials that might be helpful to you. First, if you have a calculator, which could even be your phone, that will help you out. Also, we're going to do some probability experiments. So if you have a penny or any coin and a standard regular six-sided dice, we'll use those. You might also want to have a piece of paper and something to write with, so you can write a few things down. If you don't have those things, that's fine. Just keep watching and listen and you'll be fine. If you do have them, pause and go get them. All right, we are going to start with a couple of vocab words. There are two types of probability that we are going to be talking about, and it's really important that you know the difference between the two. The first is called theoretical probability, and this is what should occur in a probability experiment. So theoretical, think of theory, and when we say in theory, we mean if everything went perfectly, this is what would happen. So theoretical probability is what should happen in the experiment. Experimental probability is when we do the probability experiment, we record what actually happened. Okay, so experimental probability is what actually happened in an experiment, and we're always going to do our experiments many times, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So it is unlikely that experimental probability matches theoretical probability exactly. It's very unlikely that those two are exactly the same. But take a second and think, how do you think you can make it more likely that the two match? The best way to make your experimental probability closely match your theoretical probability is by repeating your experiment many times. So as we are doing an experiment, if we do the experiment 20 times, our probability or experimental probability might be close to our theoretical probability, but it might not. But if we do the experiment more times, maybe 50 times or 100 times, as we repeat the experiment more, it becomes more closely resembling the theoretical probability. So we are going to work on simple probability today, and that involves simple events. So a simple event is one event that occurs at one time. Examples would be flipping a coin, rolling a dice, spinning a spinner, drawing a card from a deck of cards, or picking a counter, which are those little colored chips from a bag or something. Okay, all of those are examples of simple events. And we record probability this way. So first, I'm going to talk about this notation. This is read as probability of the event, and we are going to substitute that word event for whatever we want to occur in our experiment. So if our experiment is flipping a coin and we want to know what the probability of flipping tails is, then we would write P parentheses tails, and we would read that as probability of tails. And we write this as the number of favorable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. Favorable means how many times did it occur the way that you wanted it to? How many times was it in your favor? Right, so if we want to find the probability of tails, we are asking how many times was it tails? Possible means how many total ways was it possible? Okay, and we are going to write probability as a fraction, and that fraction should always be simplified, and a percent, and that's what you'll use your calculator for. First, I want to talk about the probability scale before we get to our experiments. So, probability scale looks like this. On one end, over here, we have what is impossible. So, impossible is something that is 0% likely. It's not going to happen. An example of this would be if I said, find the probability of rolling an 8 on a standard six-sided dice. Well, that's impossible because there is not an 8 on a standard six-sided dice. So that would be 0% likely. It's impossible. The opposite of that would be over here where it's certain. It's 100% likely. So an example of this would be if I was using a trick coin. So if I was using a coin that had heads on both sides, and I said, what's the probability of getting heads? Well, it's certain because that's the only possible outcome. Okay, it's definitely going to happen because I'm using a trick coin. Okay. In the middle, we have the 50-50, 50%, which means that the event is as likely to happen as it is not likely to happen. Anything less than 50% is moving from unlikely to impossible, and anything more than 50% is moving from likely to certain. Okay, most of our probabilities are going to fall in this middle range. So we're going to try a couple of experiments. If you were able to find a penny or a coin, go ahead and grab that. First, we are going to find the theoretical probability of flipping heads on a coin. So to find the theoretical probability, we are talking about what should happen. Okay, so we want to know the number of favorable outcomes. Well, on a regular coin, we're not using a trick coin, on a regular coin, how many ways can I get heads on a coin? 1. So my number of favorable outcomes is 1. Then I need to know the number of possible outcomes. So on a coin, we can either get heads or tails. So there are 2 possible outcomes. That means the probability of flipping heads on a penny is 1/2. And I know that 1/2 has 50%. Okay, so that's the probability, the theoretical probability. Now we want to try the experimental probability. So we are actually going to conduct an experiment. We still want to know the probability of flipping heads on the coin. You are going to test the experiment 20 times, meaning you're going to flip the coin 20 times. Record the number of times your experiment was successful. I would recommend just making a T-chart and keeping track of the number of successes, so how many times you did get heads on one side, and then your not successful flips, the times that you did not get heads on the other side, and then total that should come up to 20. Okay, and then you're going to write your probability. So go ahead and pause the video and do your experiment. Okay, I just did my experiment and I flipped heads 12 times. So I would record my favorable outcomes as 12. My possible outcomes was 20. It's like the number of times we did the experiment. 12 out of 20 simplifies to 3/5. So 3/5 would be my probability as a fraction. And then I'm going to use my calculator to do the percent. You can just do 3 divided by 5. And then multiply that by 100, and you get your percent. So 3/5 is 60%. Okay, so my experimental probability was somewhat similar to my theoretical probability. Yours may be similar. Your experimental probability may be a lot less than it, or it might be a lot greater. Right? Here's why it's important that we do the experiment so many times. If I only flipped the coin twice, it's possible that I flipped heads both times, and then my experimental probability would be 100%. But we know that it's not certain that we get heads every single time we flip a coin. Okay, so the more that we do an experiment, the more realistic it becomes, the more it becomes like the theoretical probability. Let's try another experiment. So if you have a dice, grab that. We'll use that for the next 2. Again, theoretical probability is what should happen, and we want to know the theoretical probability of rolling a 3. So favorable outcomes, how many ways can I get a 3 on a standard 6-sided dice? 1 way. So favorable outcomes is 1. Possible outcomes, how many different results can I get when I roll a dice? Well, a 6-sided dice has 6 different numbers, so my possible outcomes would be 6. Which makes the probability of rolling a 3 1 out of 6. Again, I'm going to use a calculator to help me with the percent. So I'm going to type in 1 divided by 6, hit equals, and then multiply by 100. And that gets us 16.6 repeating percent. If you get a decimal, I would like it if you could leave it as a decimal, just round it to 1 decimal place, please. This one would be 16.6 repeated, or 16.6 or 16.7. Now we're going to try the experiment. So again, we still want to know what's the probability of rolling a 3, but you are going to roll your dice 20 times, record how many times it was successful. So again, put that T-chart down. How many times did you get a 3 versus how many times did you not get a 3? And then write your probability. So again, go ahead and pause. All right, I just did my experiments and I rolled a 3 times. So my probability would be 3 over 20. I got a 3 times out of my 20 experiments. 3 over 20 cannot be simplified, so I'll leave it like that. And then I used my calculator. I did 3 divided by 20 times 100, and I got 15%. So my probability is very similar to the theoretical probability. Yours may have been similar. It may be less, or you might be really good at rolling 3s and yours might be a lot higher. But again, as we do this experiment more, so if I rolled the dice another 20 times, or if I rolled it 100 times, your experimental probability should become close to 16.6% as you do your experiment more often. All right, one more. Theoretical probability. This time we want to know what's the probability of rolling a 1 or a 2 on a 6-sided dice. So this time let's think of favorable outcomes. How many ways can I get 1 or 2? Well, I can either roll a 1 or I can roll a 2. So there's 2 ways to be favorable here. There are still 6 possible outcomes. I can roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So 6 possible outcomes, which means that my probability of rolling a 1 or a 2 is 2 out of 6, which is 1 out of 3, and 1 out of 3 is 33.3 repeating percent. Right? And then we're going to try the experimental probability again for the same thing. What's the probability of rolling a 1 or a 2? You're again going to roll your dice 20 times and record how many times it was successful. So how many times did you roll either a 1 or a 2? Versus how many times was it unsuccessful? How many times did you roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6? Keep track of that in your T-chart and then write your probability. Go ahead and pause and do so. All right, this time I was super lucky and I rolled a 1 or a 2 10 times. So 10 out of 20, which is 1/2, was my probability, and 1/2 means 50%. Now, that is not very close to theoretical. So if I did this experiment another 20 times, I would guess that I would be less successful and we would see my percentage decrease closer to that 33.3%. All right, what to do next? First, go ahead and rewatch this video as many times as you need to. This video is kind of like your notes, so if there is something that you don't understand, please go back and watch that section again. Then you'll have some independent practice on Google Classroom. We want you to try this so that you can see how you're doing. It is not turned in, it's not graded. If you need help, use this video. Talk to someone at home, or please feel free to send me or Mrs. Gall an email and we will help you the best that we can. There will be an answer key posted, so after you're done, check your answers. If you missed anything, see if you can fix it, make sure you understand it. Again, if you are confused, if you don't get something, please feel free to send us an email if you need more help. Right? And then lastly, you'll complete a check-in on Google Classroom. This is the only thing that you will turn in, but it is still not a grade. Okay, so just like when we do check-ins in class, we are just looking to see how we're doing. Do we need more help or are we good? And we will use it just for that purpose. It is not a grade. All right, if you guys need absolutely anything, please feel free to send me or send Mrs. Gall an email. We miss you guys. We hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day.